in heavy metal through the new wave of British heavy metal in the UK, and Heaven and Hell comes out and is an instant hit, you know, and is chock full of fantastic songs, and proves to any doubters that yes, this guy has created a slightly different sounding Black Sabbath, but one that's no less appealing.
He brought baggage with him. He was a known quantity, but he certainly did manage to add to the Sabbath legend without taking too much away.
Ronnie James Dio was a good choice to replace anybody, or to be himself. But he sure as hell wasn't Ozzy Osborn, and didn't try to be, and that about him I admire. Didn't attempt to be Ozzy Osborn. He kept his own personality.
Look to the people, and on through the mist, to the hill of the headless cross, where all witches meet on a night such as this, and the power of darkness is ours. They come face to face, eye to eye, soul to soul, with an angel that fell from the sky. Born on the air of the screams and the wails of the masses are pointed to die. Listen to the beat as the pounding air to a tune of thunder. Watch as the angels ride again to a fate of death of torture. Oh no, 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 at the headless cross, at the endless cross.
Tony Martin was an unknown guy, also from the Birmingham area, which is a good thing, really.
A lot of people didn't know who the hell this Tony Martin guy was, you know, and probably confused a lot of people, probably more in America than anywhere else. But that said, his first stab at a Sabbath album was a very, very good one.
I always felt a bit sorry for Tony Martin. It was a very, very hard job to come in at that stage, and a lot of pressure.
Tony Martin, I think, was welcomed by fans, and he soon proved himself to be one of the more adaptable singers. He could do an Ozzy, he's probably nearer in style to Dio, but basically he could cover all the bases, and he had something of his own to offer as well.
A lot of people have slagged Tony Martin being in Black Sabbath, but I think if you look at the material that he recorded with them, for consistency alone, he was probably better than anyone.
On stage, Tony Martin was a very static performer, but he had a great voice. I mean, a really, really good voice.
Technically, he was a very good singer, and might have been the best that Sabbath could have got.
Tony Martin came up, who was a great singer, I thought. Superb.
I think he's a great singer, and he did sound very much like Dio in many of the songs that he sang. So the identity that Sabbath had built up with Ronnie James Dio, they certainly didn't want to let that one go by the sound of it. And I think with Tony Martin, it worked very, very well.
From the first evil night, when a black flash of light cut the crucifix half to the ground, yeah. There's been no escape from the power of Satan on a nation so brave and so proud. Listen to the beat as the band the land to a tune of thunder. Watch as the angels ride again to a fate of death of torture. Oh no, 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 at the headless cross, at the headless cross.
Headless Cross was the beginning of an upswing in the fortunes of Black Sabbath, certainly the post-Ozzy Black Sabbath.
Headless Cross is Tony Martin's finest hour with Black Sabbath.
I thought Headless Cross certainly had its moments. I think the song Headless Cross, again, is another Sabbath classic.
They create a very bombastic, loud, heavy rock album.
I don't think Headless Cross was a great album. I think it was a good album. I can remember when it first came out. I think it was IRS Records, and a lot of press was written about it, and Kerrang and so on, and they kept ranting and raving about how fantastic the album was. And it was good, but it wasn't fantastic.
It's not regarded in the same terms as, say, a Paranoid or a Masters of Reality or a Heaven and Hell. And that's probably because the quality of all the songs doesn't hold up to the quality of all the songs on those other records. But it's certainly a very, very good record, and it's still one that you can listen to today and get a lot out of.
I think it laid down a marker. It wasn't the best post-Ozzy album, but it was among them. And I think it showed the way that Sabbath were going to try and progress through the 80s and into the 90s.
Do you see our vision? All the perfect grace. Does it make you laugh? Put a smile on your face. Do you need a mirror? Do you see it well? Does the hand of God still hold the bell? There are people laughing. They were laughing at you. If only you could see what you're saying was true. Still generals fighting, making war on the world. Don't they know? Don't they know? No, no, no. Yeah. As the winds of the land grow cold, your eyes are burning. Yeah. The sands of a time grow old. And on Monday, yeah. Do you follow the path?
Tony Martin he sang on one really good Sabbath album, that's The Headless Cross. I personally haven't got much time for the music that's on Tear and Cross Purposes.
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, which is sort of apt for Black Sabbath. But you know, if you do something different, oh well, it's not like Sabbath used to be. And if you try and sound exactly like how they were, well, why don't they do something new? You know, you almost can't win.
When people talk about Black Sabbath, and when they always seem to miss out on Tony Martin, and I think it's a great shame, because many Sabbath fans have enjoyed the albums that he's done over the years.
Tony Martin's certainly been underrated by a lot of people as a singer. And I think when we look back, we'll find that the albums he appeared on with Sabbath, although not the best-selling and certainly not the most critically applauded, held together as a body of work that he certainly has no need to be ashamed of.
Rocket engines burning fuel so fast, up into the black sky so fast. Burning metal through the atmosphere. Ugly makes you worry, hate and fear. With the hateful battles waging on, rockets flying to the glowing sun. Looking at my love eternal void. Freedom from the final suicide, yeah. Suicide. Alright. Freedom fighters sent out to the sun. Escape from brainwash minds and pollution.
I think Into the Void is one of the classic Sabbath songs. To me, it's up there with Paranoid and Black Sabbath, the track itself.
Bill Ward, the drummer, feels that Into the Void was Sabbath at its absolute height. And he's saying that, who are we to argue?
Just from the off, from the very first opening riff, you know that it's a headbanging track, and I think that's the appeal. No mystery about it, you know, heads down, no nonsense boogie, and it's going to be, you know, headbanging all the way.
It was an interesting concept Geezer Butler coming up with, that he wanted to jump into a rocket ship and escape what's going on Earth.
And what's interesting about this song is that it's the vocals are very sparse. There's not a lot of vocals on them, and in general, Sabbath tracks feature vocals heavily. there's very little vocal, and that works great. Again, it's displaying Tony Iommi to be a really, really fine guitar player. And yeah, it's got all the ingredients of the rock classic that it deservedly is.
Close the city and tell the people that something's coming to go. Take the darkness out, rushing forward to take a bite from the world. It's nothing to say. You break away. Come on. When you listen to rules, the mob rules, yeah. The mob rules.
It's often been debated whether Tony Martin could deliver songs such as Mob Rules, from the songs from the Dio era, and the answer's got to be no. Dio was a very confident, overblown, egotistical guy, quite small, short in stature, so I think he overcompensated with his sort of on-stage antics. So a very hard act to follow.
I think Tony Martin could deliver almost anything, if not everything, that Ronnie James Dio did vocally.
I think Tony Martin did a great job, particularly on the Dio songs, because his voice is quite close to Ronnie's.
He did gravitate towards the Dio era songs, and that was really because he was young enough to have been influenced by Rainbow as well as Black Sabbath themselves. He could tackle pretty much anything, and I think Mob Rules was definitely grist to his mill.
I think Tony Martin was such a proficient singer, still is such a proficient singer. I think he could actually cover most of the Sabs, probably with the exception, ironically, of Ozzy.
Revolution in their minds, our children start to march against the world in which they have to live. All the hate that's in their heart, instead of being pushed around and told just what to do. They fight the world until they've won, and love comes flowing through.
I think Sabbath fans often question Tony Martin's ability to deliver certain songs, and the song Children of the Grave, I'm afraid he doesn't quite get to grips with it.
Most Sabbath fans would definitely associate Children of the Grave with Ozzy Osborn. But of course he didn't write the lyrics. It was Geezer Butler's idea to tell us that if we carry on polluting the planet, then we're not going to be able to live here at all. Now that message was still certainly relevant when Tony Martin got hold of the song, but as something that was so indelibly tied in with Ozzy, perhaps that was a challenge too far.
It's a great song. It's in classic Sabbath mould, the dark side coming in sort of dark and moody, and it just sounds a little bit bland, Martin's vocals over the top of this track, so I can see the point of the die-hard Sabbath fans, early era Sabbath fans who question Tony Martin's ability to sort of cover material such as this.
Tony Martin's a very, very good singer, and his role in Black Sabbath should never really be sort of undermined.
Tony kept faithful to Tony Iommi's vision of what Black Sabbath was, and that is the vision that the fans have been following throughout the years.
Some people say that the Tony Martin years were underrated. I don't think they were at all. I just think they were maybe misunderstood, not quite as impactful as Ronnie James Dio and obviously Ozzy. I'd listen to a Black Sabbath album with Tony Martin on it. Yeah, I would. And I would enjoy it, and of course I have, and I've played it. But there's always that thing in the back of my head. Where's the voice of Oz? Where's the voice of Oz?
Make a joke and I will sigh and you will laugh and I will cry. Happiness I cannot feel and love to me is so And so as you hear these words telling you now of my state, I tell you to enjoy life. I wish I could, but it's too late.
Thank you, good evening from Black Sabbath, thank you.